Welcome everyone to the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity publication of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. It's public teaching in English for Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. This is the morning session for day 7, and we'll continue with more of our teaching of Plasma for Peace today with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to go?
Yes. Good morning. Good day to you as usual. Wherever and whenever you listen to these knowledge seekers programs. We would like to thank all of you wherever you listen to these teachings. It's become apparent that all our teachings are listened by governments and reported directly in the newspapers. Our response of last week or Friday in respect to the publication of the minister has been published again in Ghana. Minister directly answering to or responding about somebody's microphone is open in respect to what we said, and we have made no threat. What we said is we are a clean, clear organization. We have received a threat from Mr. Dirk Laurensens. We will respond accordingly. The threat reads to Armand, leave now. Mr. Laurensens, this will be used against what you have done. This is a threat to one of the Keshe Foundation directors. We will respond accordingly. We have kept a copy of the information. It shows you are at the head of terrorizing Keshe Foundation, the staff. We publish your email. There is no reason after 3 years you sending an email to one of our directors and asking him to leave now. It means you are making threats. We'll respond accordingly. We'll publish your email. We told you you're dealing with a terrorist person, his highly active cell, and now, after killing Fabio wasn't enough, he's making threats against other members of the Keshe Foundation. We take this in a different country as you have done, and we respond to you accordingly. Now you're opening your hand, what we told you've been doing for 10 years, and now it's obvious. Now you're becoming too bold. You think now you can do what you like. You will not like our response, I assure you. A terrorist is always a terrorist, Mr. Laurensens. We saw you acting in the court, dictating to the police what to do. Now you're making instructions to people what to do to leave. Evacuate before we do more damage. You kill one of our members, we respond to you accordingly. Going back to the teachings, your honorable minister, that wasn't a threat. That was nothing to do with you. You're connected to yourself. Those people who know what we're talking about, they took note. We are in Ghana to invest, and we're in Ghana to carry on for the betterment of the nation. Your office as a minister respected, and at the same time, we did not take a challenge with you. You listened to the people who misguidedly gave you wrong information, you made a decision wrong. And what we have said, we will produce documents to show our position. We are not threat makers. We deliver what we say as we've done up to now all the time. Going back to the teaching. Part of the teaching in the last few days has been about the soul and the soul of the man. As we showed pictures, I'm sure many of you have been looking to see where and how all these things have come to be, and now what are we taking notice of? There are huge amount of information that it has to be understood. As I said, we go across one thing to another, trying to understand more of the same. And we try to understand more in exactly what way we do and how we do it. it is important to understand the essence of the plasma and go back on all the work which we have done over 3, 4, or 5 years, and all the books and all the papers, and start bringing everything together. Bit by bit, information by information, different aspects and testing which has been done, and in turn understanding the totality of the work of the plasma. What I want to do today is to bring some points that it makes it more clearly for us what exactly we are talking about and how we are developing this process. As I said, once we understand the work of the plasma, we can understand the work of the soul, which is again itself is a plasma, and we explained before. But we now connect different tests and experiments you've done in the past that allows you to understand and connect much easier everything else. I would like to take you back to part of the teaching, and then we go back and analyze and go in more depth. If you remember, we took 2 plates and we created the opposite system than what we are used to at the present in the world of science. What we done in the past decades and century is that we took 2 plates of different material and we filled it in with different kind of acidity. Then once we reached that point, we created a current flow, which means we released energy through the acid combination that allowed materials from the cells to be separated, and in moving electron one to another, we created a current which we used it. Because that factor of hydrogen was the energy which was needed to release the energy of all electrons of the plates, what we call electric current. In our new system, instead of having just gonna fix this. Instead of having salt, sorry, instead of having acid, we replaced it with a salt. But we given a step up with it, that we nano-coated one of the materials, because now it was processed as we call the nano-coating, which allowed, by putting the current between the two to be balanced or drained, for the material from one plate to another to be separated, but not joining the other one, but due to the gravitational field or the heaviness of the element in the liquid, becoming a concentrator, or in a way gravitating all the material or the energies in between. This is a difference between what we have been in the world of science up to now and where we are now. It's addition to the knowledge. But if you remembered, when we separated these materials in the form of the GANs, or what we call nano state, by creating gravitational magnetic field or creating gravitational magnetic specific fields that in matching with the other fields above it, it pulls and attracts the material inside. And then with the interaction of the oxygen, creates oxides of it. But if you would have made 2 plates of the same, instead of bringing environment from outside material, we can do it within the 2 plates themselves. So we can use the plate and the salt to create a field condition, or we can use the plates to create repulsion of the elements. That means the creation of elements. In so many ways, this process is important for us. In so many ways, this process comes to bring us a new condition. Here, we always transferred, even if it was electronic or electrical, we plated, took one electron or one atom from one and we placed it on there. In this process, because of the gravitational field, whatever comes up from one to another, due to the gravitational field within the center, it gets pulled in. It does not get a chance to reach the other plate. And at the same time, because now it's gravitational magnetically plated positioned, this water here is in a matter state. This water here is in a plasma state. The plasma state is dictated because of the nanomaterial, nano coating. That nano coating to you is in one place, but in fact, the plate, due to its field, is operational right across the whole system. It has to be understood that this process is different than the other. Here we create fields to hold on to what is separated or what we have created the condition of. Once we created these ganses, as you have seen, we have taken the GANs, and if you place it in a rotating motor ball, we have seen the creation of 3 clear lines of work. What this means is that we have the center, which is empty. We have the whole gap between the center and where the material is in blue, which is the water. And then we have the material which we have created on the side, which what we call GANs. What is interesting, if we take this GANs and we put it in a container full of water and mix it, what has given us is very simple. After a while, the water is the same, but this gas which has come to settle at the bottom works, due to its minute structure, very much like a filter. And this filtering creates a specific structure in the water. So the water here, even it looks to be water, is gravitational magnetically charged totally different than what it was. So as the plasma, or what we call the GANs, has gone through, if you follow its path, it has energized, it has left some of its fingerprint of magnetic field on the element. So in fact, these new elements are not the same water as before, but as we have explained, their position according to the material which has been used as filtering has been charged in different way. If you remember, in the teaching we explained if we go line by line, if for example the gray stuff was CH3, the oxygen and hydrogen will have this cap configuration. If it's CO2, the configuration will be very different. Point is the spacing. Because elements according to their magnetic field in a matter state definition will look like this. If we go, for example, into CuO, then the elements are like this. So the space gap is different, higher charged. This is how we tried by gap spacing show the charges. If we understood this, now we understand every element, even it's looking like water, but energy wise carries the strength of the gravitational magnetic field of the element which has been used as a filter. Once we understand this, the process becomes much more clearer in the whole structure of the work of the gas and the materials. So what we understand and what we see is very simple, and that is the process is taking shape where we dictate the condition and not the anything else. Is not a matter state work, is the total gravitational magnetic field strength work. This is one of the fundamental changes of the new understanding. And this is important that we understand this change, this new phenomena. Because with this process, we go through a rhythm, a program, a system where the matter state is not in property and in field strength as it was before the system was introduced or the water was introduced to the gas material. It is becoming much stronger, different behavior, but the problem with the present world of science is that we still see it as water. We still see it in a proposition of the field of matter state, not a plasma state. Those of you who've been around and you have bought the alkalizer, or you have made the pens and everything else, you have come to understand that by we giving these systems to be added to, let's say, a syringe or whatever, we have seen the alkaliness has gone, for example, from 6.8 to 7.5 to 8.3 and the rest of it. So now we know, even though it is water, but it has field strength, that it changes the characteristics of the water, which we don't introduce into, we put to be in touch with. This confirming that the water has taken a new configuration. If this was not so, we can put water in one cylinder, in one capsule, and put it in the normal water, let's say at 6.8, and then we put another syringe with, let's say, gans of CO2 or CO2 or zinc oxide, and then after 48 hours, we measure the alkalinness. Or after 24 hours, we measure alkalinness, or after 6 hours, we measure. This way, we see that the one which has got the water in it, the syringe in the container of water, has not changed property. So what we will see, if we take a water and we put in both containers of the water, one syringe with alkaline and one with normal water, we see the pH on the alkaline water goes up. We have seen if this was 6.7, after 4 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, it still will be 6.7. And if the alkalineness of the water has changed to, let's say, even 7.2, 7.5, it means this material is not the water anymore. We never had this phenomenon before. This is why the new technology, the new understanding, the new system can be proven. Those who say scientifically this is fraud, they are doing nothing, this is the answer to you. If it is nothing, if you're a scientist and you've got a scientist background and you work on the analysis of data, and data is important to you to confirm there is it, it's a simple test. So those who say this is a water and it's fraud, please educate yourself. Gaining knowledge is not a shame. Understanding a new technology is an addition to the knowledge, not shameful knowledge. And we see this with the new cycle of people that they say it's a fraud, it's just the water. This is advice to you. If anybody does, give them 2 syringes, fill the water up and tell them, check the pH. pH over 7, alkaline, is highly recommended by all the scientific world to be anti-cancer and everything else. Therefore, even you just allow the water, which is nothing, to be added to the water and measure the alkalinness, let alone putting it separate. You will get the same. This shows to those scientists who are criticizing the foundation work that is nothing but water, it shows there is a need to be educated. This is the simplest way. In all our processes, we call it plasma filtering. If what we produce is not and what it is to be, this should be 6.7, and the same, does not matter what we put in. If we could increase alkalinness with the water, a lot of magicians would have been at work. So now we understand. Anyone questions the technology, this is the simplest way, especially who are educated, highly educated doctors, professors, scientists, medical people, who say there is nothing but this, just give them the water, it's just add it, measure alkalinness. This is it. This shuts everything down. There is no room for criticism. Unless, in fact, there is what we call clandestine work. This is what is important to us to understand. As I said, we start introducing simple ways and explaining the technology. Now that we put you in a peace process, that you can understand in a simple way. Those people with degrees don't think they're clever, they can snooker the others. People of the press have no understanding, but people of the press can easily, very easily, what to do is to test the alkalinness. Then we invite those scientists who say it's nothing but water, There's a big question mark on the education and the science of those who discuss this. This is the reality with what it is. If you go back on the Keshe Foundation website, the jug, this is exactly what it is. It's certified by CE standard, confirming the rise in level of alkalineness while the gas tube is inside. So those who call us fraud, there is a need for re-education, drastic re-education. This goes back to what at this moment of time sits in the world of science. This is a new evolution and we have to learn. It is not, excuse me, what we called people of the new tablets and whatever, homeopathy and the rest of it. This is a scientific. I'm a nuclear physicist. I pin every point to the scientific point to be tested. Your Honorable Minister of Science and Technology of Ghana. We provide you the water. You take your water from the tap from your ministry's office and separate it in two and put some of this clean water which we give you and some of the water you have and measure the alkalineness. And if it is, we would like you to use it and let us know what are the application of this in the world of medicine and in the world of other application like space, like agriculture. You got to understand our knowledge sits on 40 years of solid technology. I am a leading nuclear physicist in plasma technology. I don't argue, I pin down with the knowledge. I see in one of your reports, Your Excellency, say it's a water and blah blah.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
I'm here.
Oh, hi.
I'm here. No problem. So what is important for all of us is not to argue, but to scientifically pin these things down. We've been accused and in a way been told is a scam and the rest of it. We don't need to ask. As a leading heart surgeon, you're honorable, you should have done some work in the background and done it yourself. Nobody else. You are a scientific based, you are a famous heart surgeon, you're a minister. Don't listen.
Hello. I think Mr. Keshe dropped out temporarily there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes. These allegations which is made is all throwing international investors against Ghana. We have proof, we can show the technology, and a man of science should check himself if does not accept. We ask for international withdrawal of any financial investment in Ghana if this situation is not sorted. We did not come to harm, we came to develop, and we accept pressure, lies, cheats which come, threats which come, you have to listen to. But the wisdom of knowledge to a minister is the strength of his office. It's very simple. Your honorable and the members of the cabinet follow the instruction on the internet, make yourself the ganses, make yourself the material, take the water of it and put it in the system, and or ask the Keshe Foundation to provide you the water which was given to the FDA and the standard board, and test it. Test the alkaliness. If any water added to another water can increase the alkaliness, or a water put in another tube and put in the water and increases the alkaliness, or any man's knowledge up to now can bring the seawater or whatever and increase alkaliness, and then you can use our GANs and reach that, it shows we discovered something new. And that is the simplicity of it. This is why institutes who have seen and tested it, they say it's water. You have to understand, now the world of science has gone a step further. We work with the fields of the nature, not with the matter state of nature. I again ask your honorable to withdraw your accusations. You should have tested it. You should have gone to Queen Mary College and asked a question. Is there a nuclear engineering department? When was a nuclear engineering department? And when was it shut? You didn't need me to put documents on the internet. We are not fighting with the government. We are supporting the wishes of the president. New technology, one factory per district, bringing a finance to support the nation. We've done all of it. International investments needs to support African nations to come out of the pitfall they are in. We are a scientific organization and with a good reputation. I announce I withdraw investment from Ghana on the false basis, and we can show other documents. International organizations will look two ways. Why are they pulling us in to take our science and technology and money and then do what they done to Keshe Foundation? Or is there another plan behind the back? We are sincere, we're committed. We have committed €1 million into investment in Ghana in the next 6 weeks to 8 weeks. We have transferred the funds into Ghanaian bank. Please check with the Keshe Foundation bank account. $750,000 has been deposited in cash for development of the new site. These kind of investments into Africa does not walk in. No other organization invests this way into an African nation. You should have checked as a minister to understand. You freeze our assets in Ghana, make any accusation in Ghana, I go internationally to freeze any investment in Ghana. We show it clearly. We are not talking. I have already invested $250,000 in Ghana for development of the present situation. And we have transferred $750,000 cash into the Ghanaian Keshe Foundation bank account for development of the new factory. You cannot play with investors, scientific organizations like us. Very clear. We are withdrawing your 25% share because you closed the books, not us. Please call the Bank of the Keshe Foundation in Ghana. They confirm to you the deposits of $750,000 for development. If that money is touched, we move very drastically. That money belongs to the nation of Ghana. We brought it in to invest in the nation, not to the pleasure of a commissioner or a minister. Your positions is 4 years, 8 years. Ghanaian nation stays for hundreds of years, and it needs the new technology and investment. Do not play with the international organizations. Your president asked for investment and new technology. We have responded. Unless there's a trap set to bring investors and then get away and steal from them, which I don't think this is the plan. You have one press officer who marches you on into it. You should have checked. Very simple. The water with the alkalineness, you're a doctor, you're a head of a hospital, you are and your son are in biochemistry and the rest of it. Check the alkalineness, and then you understand this is a new technology. I withdraw the funds out of Ghana if I don't receive apology. We can all make mistakes. We can all be forced and lied to. This is a foreign investment belonging, we brought in to us for the Keshe Foundation, which is a Ghanaian nation. No threats. We do our work. No one invests like this in African nations the way we set up. We invest another 20 million in the next 6 months into Ghana. We increase our workforce to up to 3,000. This was the wish of your president. Do not play with the international investors, which are correct. I'm paying the scientists of Ghana 4 times, 5 times national average wages. Walk, and I can bring all my staff with their bank accounts. We are paying directly all taxes and everything correct. We did not break the condition, you did. Your people did. By lying to you, and you made the decision on the wrong basis. We accept everybody can make a mistake. But at this crucial point for your nation, international investors and bringing huge number of jobs needed to pull Africa out. We haven't paid a single penny bribe to no one. We are there out of our own strength. In a simple line, I explained. Now it's for your office to double check the reality and the facts. The Standard Board has confirmed it's pure water. We agree. FDA has confirmed is a pure water. We agree, because it is pure. Even they checked for metals and elements in it, and it's pure. It's one of the latest edge of science technology. The only way I can tell you you can do it, just change the alkalineness, because that means to you as a doctor, it means when the stomach alkalineness changes with the water, it brings a lot of benefit. And we have certified it. It's been certified in Europe on a CE certification. But in Ghana, people do not go for alkalineness. They don't understand. It's a pure water. It depends on what people would like to do with it. It's a pure water filtering. And it's worth $100 a bottle. We put it very cheap, as you said in your interview, $10 a bottle. $10 is nothing for such a beautiful technology. African nations should not go under pressure from outsiders. These are the people. Mr. Lorenz is on 2 attempted murder of me in Italy and Belgium. Murder of me and my son and my wife. And he has organized the killing of my assistant 6th of July last year. My secretary is still in coma. Mr. Lorenz is on investigation for murder, and his team and the police officers which work with him. You fell in a very big trap. Please contact the police of Italy, they tell you. Mr. Lorenz, this is the first one writes, he's trying to save his neck from going into prison for life for a murder. Go and read facts about Dirk on internet. We didn't bring water from Belgium. We brought a technology from Iran, the most holiest lands on the human race. It's a pure knowledge. You went on the internet calling me a jihadi. You don't even know what it means. I serve humanity. Those who make accusation, they must be one. It says, it takes one to know one. I'm a man of peace, science and technology, and I deliver my technology accordingly. Apologies from your ministry needs to come. We can collaborate with your expertise and the knowledge, and the scientists, Ghanaian scientists, go into the factory of the Keshe Foundation Atomic, they're all Ghanaian. You don't see a single man from next door neighbor countries. You don't see a white man. I teach Ghanaian to stand proud to be Ghanaian. You should be as proud as me, standing next to me and your president to support such a move. They come to destroy your nation. They have robbed you for centuries. Now they're rubbing your nose for centuries. The threat I made was this. Now you received it. To discredit somebody who doesn't understand is not a threat, but it shows the science and the knowledge. We do not withdraw the investment out of Ghana. We stay confirmed and firm in our work. We are moving to a 6,000 square meter factory in Accra. We are requesting, is the job of your office as a minister, as a science and technology, to find Keshe Foundation 400 top Ghanaian scientists in next 2 months. I'm not going looking for a job, for workers. You are a minister, find me 400 and I'll pay them 4,000 a month after 3 months of training. Ask my other staff who are getting paid the wages. We are not the talkers, we are the walkers. It's the responsibility of the minister to confirm to us within the next 3 to 4 weeks, the Ministry of Science and Technology can give us 400 top scientists in Ghana. We guarantee, we have put a deposit account, the money to support the wages of $750,000. Your Honorable Minister, I wait for your next news. You supply Keshe Foundation with new premises and advantages that we can support with you, the technology. Our water has been certified by a standard board. Our power plasma system has been certified by a standard board in June, first week of June of this year. Your Atomic Commission has sent letters to both offices of FDA and a standard board, trying to discredit us. I don't listen, they don't listen. We have our certification and we work within the law. You need foreign investment to raise your nation. Seen to bunch of murderers to destroy your nation. That's your decision, sir, not me. We are here to make peace, and part of the peacemaking is to bring the nations who have been down up to a level as we raise humanity to be all equal. I expect an apology, and it has to come from your office personally, of the minister. I made a threat, and you got my threat. I showed how simple your scientists should have checked. And I have European certification for my material. I am correct. My dear Keshe Foundation followers, it's very simple that nations fall in these traps. We have to be correct to make sure that in all that process, we are there to support and we are there to enlighten. They will fall in these processes. Nobody can help. This is the job of us to be correct. Science has to be on the basis of itself, and scientists have to accept that the new technology can always merge, and they have to be open to accept it. When a minister has a problem to accept the new technology with such a high education, then we have a problem with the nation. We are not fighting, we are peacemakers. Read about Mr. Lorenz. He is on a warrant, on an investigation in Italy for the murder of my assistant. Now, if you make a decision on a talk of a murderer and he writes himself, because in Africa you don't know what's happening. We release the papers, go and read. These papers have been submitted to the Belgian court, where they try to accuse of us everything, and now they understand these are all fabrication. This is your job as a minister to safeguard your nation from the hand of people, but not for the people who invest with you. A telephone call is very easy, but see how much they invested in your nation. Belgians and Europeans have done nothing but to rob your nation. Iranians are investing in your nation with the rest of the Keshe Foundation. My staff in Ghana Atomic asking me, can we move, please, Mr. Keshe? Because we brought gift and they do not understand. This is my Ghanaian management team and the staff. The people which will become part of Keshe Foundation African management team. I'm proud in the staff I have trained because they become part of the backbone of the development of the newest technology in Africa. I've seen in one of your reports, you say, Keshe, Ghana does not need a space program. We have our own. I know you have your own. It's sitting in Atomic. But you signed a 2 million defense contract, 2 billion. And that contract is done with one of our organizations, which we know. And if they can invest in your country €1,000, you're very lucky. Iranian scientists are in it. Can you please connect my voice in the other channel, please? Iranian scientists, investors, as they are across Accra, are needed to bring Africa out of the dilemma it is today. We should be respected, not terrorized. Your Honorable, take this video to your president and take one by one if we are wrong in any of it. I made a threat. I carried out my threat. I have shown how simple your office should have checked. This is embarrassment to the other scientists and people from different organizations in Ghana. Informed you the technology is correct. That's why certificates were being issued. And by the way, the water still is a water. And it didn't come Belgium. It came from Ghanaian scientists who made it in Africa, in Ghana. If you're ashamed of your scientists and you're demeaning them, That is something to be said from a minister. It should not be a position that elevates his scientists, elevates his factory, elevates investors in the nation. I tell you again, Minister, call, according you are 25% shareholder, till the next few days that you transfer the shares back to us. We have asked for the papers to be done. As you withdraw MOU, the investment goes back to Keshe Foundation. And please check with the bank of the Keshe Foundation. We have $750,000 deposit. We brought it in to develop. If your country is so rich that it doesn't need $1 million investment to build up to $20 million investment in the next 6 months, let us know. We go back. We keep our commitment to a few staff we have, and we keep it to the minimum. And we take it to other countries which they don't have the pleasure of the facilities you have. One factory, one district, bringing new technology and bringing foreign investment. I brought the foreign investment, I brought the new technology, I built the factory, and I put Ghanaians head of it. Do not destroy it. Or, as I said, your position as a minister is unattainable because you don't understand the orders of your president. President Nana, Your Excellency, we have carried all the wishes of yours in your inauguration. Please advise us exactly how we're going to invest. I withhold the funds in the account for 7 days, and then I invest in Ghana. We have international backers. We have governments who work with us and are deaf and blind to a bunch of murderers which you listen to. Mr. Sylvester, who bombarded you, we kicked him out of the foundation because of false information, entering and organizing a murder in Paris. We found out everything which was said. He was trying to be murdered by Illuminati's unrest. Is all nothing but false. And he's stolen 265,000 from the Illuminatis, or what we call Knights of Malta, in Hungary. Please call. If you don't want, I can send you the email. You got fooled by a bunch of murderers and you thought you got the facts. It happens. But next time, ask your investigators, next time ask your staff to look deep. The reason Mr. Lauressens has put such a website out, because he knows he's going to be caught. He's going to go into prison for a long time. He stole our patent and went to China trying to register it. Now that we have caught him, we release his email. Arman John, I know you're online. Can you send a copy of Mr. Lauressens threatening you to leave with a copy of the speech of the minister, that they are sitting with the minister, to Rick? Just delete your email and cover, just leave his name on, that they know where it comes from. Legally, we are covered. Yeah?
Okay.
Send it out. We've received a threat from Mr. Lauressens to one of our staff. Leave. We leave nowhere. Pardon?
It's not an email.
Take a screenshot, whatever it is. Yeah?
Okay, no problem.
Now you understand. I've carried out my threats, Your Honorable Minister, and I showed how simply you can test yourself. You don't need to say it's a water and you know nothing else. And if you're not correct, the rest of the people of Ghana can do it and give you references. We all make mistakes, but I expect a withdrawal and I expect a direct investment from Ghanaian nation into Keshe Foundation. Dollar to dollar. We have invested. We brought in $1 million. I expect at least $1 million investment from Ghanaian government with us. This is the international rule, 1 to 10. We give you a chance, 1 to 1. Let us build a nation. Thank you very much. We go back to the teaching. I'll change the line to go on the headphone. That is easier because we can use the board. We go back to what we left. And let's expand on the knowledge of what we just explained to a minister.
Hello, hello, Mr. Keshe. I think we temporarily. Oh. Mr. Keshe, I think we lost your audio. Okay, it's back.
When we added the plates and when we collected the GANs, when we collected these GANs in the spherical system, as we explained, when the property of the GANs in separation from itself and its center, what we call, actually let's do it the way we are all understand, and we go to black. We call it like a black hole. Let's change this. I hear myself because the backup is running. The purple is the gas, and the water is, how come this is not going blue? I want a blue. Okay, this is our blue. So we change the gas in different shape and color. This is the water, and let's say we have a gas. This is our gas. If you look in the dynamic motors, Rick, did you manage to find a video of one of these balls in our archives?
No, I still don't have a good video of that, Mr. Keshe. I'll have to look into that more. Sorry.
Please, we need that one because that brings a lot of things home. We shown the central line. We need the, what we call this transparent. It's in one of the teachings. Transcribers in the background, if you're listening, do you remember while you're transcribing, seeing one of these? It's in the early, I think must be number 40, 60s in that line. It was in the first year where we start seeing these hollow centers creating. A guy in Germany was doing it. What's his name? He made a number of them, and he came and he showed them in the teaching.
Marcel.
Marcel, yeah.
Marcel, yeah, okay. Okay, that's useful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These reactors, as we spin them and we position them, they create, or initially when we put them in, if I can expand this one, it's very much like this. We have a sphere, we fill it up, we have some gases we see at the bottom, the bowl is full, there is with water, and then when we spin it, we get this effect. So what is important is, some of us, and go back in book number 2 or 3, we mixed the gases, if you remember. We brought different color gases into play. And in that way, if you go to book number 2 and 3, different layers of gases start taking different shapes and different positions. Let's see if this works. Never done that. It's the white color, like a CO2. If you remember, you're taking the green away, you see more the white. So we saw different color of gases coming together in the boundary. What is interesting is that this layer here, gravitational magnetic field of, has dictated the size of this field, because its field strength in respect to this has given its position. The same with the element here. Its strength in respect to this field has given its position. The same with a GaNs in this position. Then this teaches us something very important. Then in reality and in fact, we come to understand something very simple. We have a common ground between this and this. This is this here, and this is the soul of the man. Now, if we have found this position here, let me choose another color. If we have found this position here has a parallel here inside, that's why it's taking this position, gravitational magnet positioning, then it's very easy to understand with the soul of the man. If you understand the education of the science of the present time, the scientists tell us, for example, this area is the emotion of the man. This area is the fear of the man. This area is for the language of the man. He learns languages, and it's there is something else, and whatever we call it. Then you understand the reality in what I explained yesterday. Every part of the physicality has a home, a parallel in the soul of the man. I make this here to be here. So if this is the fear, so it has a place in the soul that recognize this feel the strength means fear. If this is joy, then this shows the joy. So now you understand the totality of the knowledge as spoken by the Prophet of God. I made man in the image of myself. Now you understand why we have a position in our brain, because it has parallel position in the emotion of the soul of the man. The fear that we lose everything through the essence of the soul, as we show in the picture yesterday, you can find yours. I was thinking of a word yesterday. I'm sure MRI organizations will be very busy in the hospitals, as a lot of you go soul searching. The true meaning of soul searching. In English, when we say we go soul searching, means you're going to find out what we've done wrong, what is the position. But this time, you truly go soul searching. Find the position of your soul. Pay a hospital and find it. Very interesting. The booking in the MRI sections will be 24 hours a day, and hospitals this time really make money not of our illness, but of the knowledge. This is what we have to understand. This is when we understand in that position, we can increase in every way and level the strength of our soul, because we can feed it. As I said yesterday, fall in love with life, fall in love with peace. Understand the emotion you go through, and you can elevate yourself. Now, once you understand this, you can control and bring everything to a level that you can manage. Then you understand every emotion man carries in essence comes from the position of the field, from the soul of the man itself. It is the reflection of the matter state in the GANS state of the strength of the emotion of the soul. This is the beauty with this. This is absolute beauty with understanding the fundamental, total understanding of the work.
Mr. Keshe, I do have a video of a rotating clear sphere that I think might be the one you're after, or one similar.
Have you received it, or you're looking for it?
I have it now. Got it lined up. If you want to
Okay,
see that.
could you show it? Yes, please. We will be waiting for it. Then they can see how matter changes, how the gas. You do this with the water, it doesn't happen. It only happens when the material is in the gas state, when it carries gravitational magnetic field strength. In the background, please, our management team, can you get in touch with Benjamin and tell him to ask the press to listen to the morning teaching, please? Urgent. I can't access because I'm on Zoom. Please
Okay.
contact Benjamin and ask him to do so.
Yes, we will.
Go ahead, please. Can you explain to us what it is first, please, Rick?
Okay. Well, this is a basic sphere of GANS water with some GANS inside, and it's about to be rotated at various RPM, and we'll see the here it goes now.
Before you start, go back. Stop. Go back. There was a writing mixture of what gases are in it. Can you read it for us, please? It was in gold. I could see it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to make this.
Go back to the
video.
beginning of the tape. Can you go back to the beginning?
Okay, there it is. So it's
okay,
80%. 80%.
There it is. 80%
CuO. Oops, let me stop this. Okay, there we go.
It's got fizzy, yeah.
80% CuO, 9% CO2, 9% Fe, iron, and 2% Pb, lead.
Okay. Okay, let's see.
And he says it's a GANS mix on ventilator, meaning on a fan, like a computer fan type setup. Actually, I can share the sound with this too. Let me just reset that up and maybe we can hear the sound on it. Okay, there's also some other pictures. If I can get this to scroll down. There we go.
The central column is the one which actually becomes a circle. It's a hole in the middle.
You're talking about one with just a ball, you mean? Like a sphere in the
Yeah,
middle?
a ball in the middle. It creates a ball in the middle.
Okay. Okay, we'll have to do some more searching on that one.
Okay, if anybody's is in touch with Marcel, he can send you the thing. Okay, can I go back on sharing? If you can allow me to go back on my screen. How do I go back? I lost everything. Oh, no, it's there. Okay. Thanks, Rick. So, in this process, we have to do something like this. Just 1 second, please. Trying to keep it charge system and everything else. In this process, what we see is that the whole structure, the whole positioning of the emotion and the soul turns to be the same. And in that process, what we come to understand is that the system itself is a replication of the work of the brain of the man and the soul of the man. These simple systems are important for us. What I'm trying to once we look at this kind of structures, once we look at the understanding of one to another, don't forget, always said from the beginning of the teaching, very first teaching, what we cannot find in micro, we can go and find in macro, and then we can bring the knowledge back that it can be used in what we were interested in. This is the beauty of knowledge now. What we cannot see in one, we can go and find replication of what we made or what can be seen in the nature. And in that process, we bring about the better understanding of the knowledge. So now you can understand how the physical structure of the brain of the man supports and works through the soul itself. If the gravitational magnetic field of this piece here was not here, you would not have found position, because you're dealing with magra, we are dealing with magnetically positioned condition. This layer is millions of ganses, and everyone has to have a matching place in respect to the center. As it's here we see, so is in the structure of the man. The difference is, here is the soul of the man. Here is the cavity we see. Let me choose that we can all understand. If I take the gray, can you see the gray? Okay. So this is parallel to this here. So let me go thicker that you can follow. So this is parallel to this here. Then I can put this liquid here is parallel to here, the brain. Then what comes in this is this one, where this goes to the body of the man. Very simple. Then we have to decide on what level we would like to analyze. To what level we would like to understand the totality. To what level we are prepared to be open to understand the new science about our own, nothing else. About the construction of the inner sanctums of ourselves. This is what we have to be open with. This is what we have to understand, that many of you say, how can I elevate my soul? Understand the mechanism which your soul operates through with your physicality, that it can even raise that level through it. But you got to realize it's very much, as we say, you can make guns of potassium by buying the metal state. But it will not be the same GANs as you produce the same GANs of potassium out of, let's say, vegetation, which they have already converted their own into a GANs state. This is the way we have to understand the new technology. This is the way that we have to understand the totality of the science. This is the way which we work in the field of science. This is how we should be open in a space to see the reality, not just what we see, not just because it's what it is and what we need to know. This way, whatever you see, because you know you're in the state of GANs, you're working in a understanding of the strength of the field of the plasma, then you can work very easily with everything else in the universe. One of the biggest problems with most of us is man considers his body as a matter state. This is the biggest confusion. This is exact where our problem sits. We consider ourselves as a matter state, where we are not. We are in a state of gas, we are in a state of plasma. That's why we are so flexible. That's why we have a tissue. Have you seen a concrete block? Have you seen a building have the flexibility and reproduction? That's a matter state. We, a sculpture and a statue is made of matter, does not think, does not move. We are sculptured out of the GANs. We have every essence of creation. And because we are so much on a daily basis in touch with the matter state, we have made a confusion between the two. In any case, till past 3 or 4 years, we were not even aware of this state of existence, because everything to us was a matter state. When you get rid of the water of the body of the man, when we burn a man, when we cremate a man, we know how much is left. From that dust to the full size of the man where he came to it, is the rest plasma positioning in the liquid of the water. The material has burned to the point that has attained matter state GANs of itself. If you put it back in the water, it will not make the man, because you have repositioned its gravitational magnetic field by condition you have created. But in fact, the dust of the ashes of a man, if you gravitational magnetically position it, which includes the water which you evaporated, you will get the construction of the man. So we are not made of the matter. We are made of the plasmatic condition in the state of matter. This morning I was discussing and teaching about the new space reactors, space conditions, the spacecraft. We most probably will this in China. 100, 200 meter diameter, in any shape or form, full solid structure. This process will start very soon. Then you will understand and you will see how we can create life within the Gansen state of environment, where then we cannot digest any food, but the environmental field which dictates to us what it needs to absorb according to the need of our body. This is the evolution of the science we have to understand. This is the understanding of the science of the creation. Then, if you understood this far, and you understood what we explained yesterday, then you understand in a very simple way, man can make the destiny for his own manifestation and presentation anywhere in the universe. The way the strength of the field within the womb of the mother and the sperm and the egg decided the color of your eyes in respect to the field it created itself. Now that you understand, you can increase and elevate to please in what you want to be, what you want to reach, it will not only be at the level of peace, but peace comes when I enjoy to have a blue eyes, when I love to have a blonde hair, and I like a dark brown, blue, whatever. I would like to be 2 meters high, and I would like to have, you can't have 4 hands and arms. This environment doesn't allow you, so you can forget about that. Then you understand the way the combination of the fields of the ganses of interaction of the fields of the egg and the sperm in the need and the pre-organized way of the soul of the man decided the color of your eye. Now, those who understand, they will understand they can change the color of the eye. You don't need plastic lenses. You light through the soul of the man. But you have to understand, I don't make my eyes blue to attract this and that, to be able to carry on anything which is not good. You understand? The intention is the pleasure you have to give to the others, the beauty of the eyes. If those of you who understand this, take it a step level further, then you understand, we'll see men with new colors and colors of eyes and skin around this planet, according to what this planet allows us to have. The new science, if it's understood through the soul of the man and the strength of the soul of the man, becomes a pleasure to work with. It's us now to understand the next step. It's for us now to understand the totality. And it takes time. It won't happen tonight. I want to have a blue eye and it'll be there tonight. No way. Sincerity of the use has to be part of the totality. These things are and become part of us. These things has to be the totality of us. We have to understand the potential this technology gives to us, what we can do, what we are capable to do, what we decide to do with our lives. The beauty of the process is understanding the process. The beauty of the process is being able to elevate the soul of the man by man himself. That in a space you do not need anybody else. This is what we need. This is what we have to do. This is what it needs to be understood by man of a space. This is what we need to take our lives into the next step. Then we come to understand we have a new tool in our arsenal of pleasures of universe. It's us who decides, it's us who develops this knowledge. It is us who takes the next step. It is us who has to understand to teach the others. If in our body, for example, we find this position of the soul here, it gives us peace, and we find the power position in our physical condition in the brain, this is the place where the peace comes from, the feeling of peace and satisfaction of the equality, then we can manage, we can understand, we can do everything which we imagined. If you understood the teaching of yesterday, where we specifically showed the reactors from Arizona, if you understood the sequence of loading, the way it has to be loaded, the way you can use to elevate or energize or whatever word you want to put into it, to the level that we can go to the next path for us to open the space, should be very easy. It should be extremely easy for us to work that path. We have to extend and accept new technology. We have to understand new science. What we know here as a science, when we go to space, it'll be a speck of dust. The ocean of knowledge of universe is so immense. If we leave this planet with understanding to be open and understand the truth, not to make a worship place of what is new, then man will learn very fast the total knowledge of the universe, what it needs to know. But this, what we put on the table of teaching, especially about the gans and the soul, is the alphabet of the knowledge of the science of universe. You have to learn the alphabet before you can make words and sentences and enjoy the pleasure of a book. A, B has no meaning. When you put A and M, I am, I exist, I am present, then it comes together. When you put I am and the rest of it, then you make a book out of it, you enjoy the pleasure of the knowledge which the book gives you. And what I have taught you in past 4 or 5 years, I brought you to learn how to the level that you understand how to make 2 lines to make A and a curved line to make C. This is the beauty of the new knowledge. This is what we wanted, this is what we asked for, and this is what we got. A new knowledge that it can bring peace to man and mankind. I can see you put a new picture on.
Still trying to nail it down, Mr. Keshe. Is this one of the images that you're thinking of? This is just a still image of a video that I'm still trying to find, but it shows the bubble in the 2 bubbles actually in the center. Not the one?
Yeah, try it. It's there. Start it. We'll have a look.
It's not, it's just a still photo in the video, so we have to find the video that this still photo came from.
Can you expand it that we can see it? Can you open it up that we can see inside it? Enlarge the picture.
As far as I remember, perhaps it was made by Vitor, this experiment, and he used 2 different ganses in mixture. And it seems that each gans made its own center.
We can see 2 different ganses, the green one and the orange one. Can you enlarge that space? We've shown this video many times. It's just somewhere in our archives. It shouldn't be that hard to find it. You can't enlarge it that we could see it. It's good because when people see the development, do we still have reactors that we can load up in the background and show it to us sometime this week, Rick? Do you have it in your place?
Yes.
I will ask John to make it.
Pardon?
I will ask John to make it. Single reactors, you have it.
Please, if you could.
I can get one fired up as well. I believe I've got a clear sphere I can use.
Anybody could do and record it as you got everything available in your hand. But this is what you see the center as it literally develops its own center with the ganses outside and inside. We see a separation ring which doesn't cover the totality. That's because of the material. It is important for us to be able to switch knowledge and understand the totality of the knowledge. You see that drop comes out of the space inside, and that space inside is the amalgamation of the field forces which has been brought in to increase the internal pressure. This internal pressure goes directly creating a space for itself. This is more or less what they call the beginning of the soul of the man. If we take the knowledge step further in what we were discussing this morning to another level, to further analyze it, you'll come to understand how even your soul is created. Maybe we discuss this in the afternoon session. In how our soul, the behavior of soul, which leads to the creation of the color of the eye and the rest is done. You got to realize, if this was not what we call the presence of central control or presence of the totality worldwide in the structure of the body of the man, your eyes would have been different size and your head would have been different size. Each one of us would have different shape and dimensions of 2 eyes or 4 eyes and the rest of it. But a lot has been said. If you want to record something, I explained to you about the position of the soul of the man, what it takes. I showed you yesterday the position of the soul. But why is that position? Why soul sits so low, but in a specific position? For those of you who want to understand, look through your eyes. The eye of the man is a passage through the soul of his existence. For the soul to leave the body of the man, I is the cancer state without going through the calcium. The soul of the man, which interacts with the totality, has its own operation and its own position and the reason for its position. Set in line where it has no filtering as it needs to do, where the rest of the skull creates a filtering for the tissues. There is a lot to learn, but we have to be not only open, but be investigative, that we can go and investigate and understand it very rapidly. Then you can elevate your soul. Then you understand through the soul you carry, it's the soul which dictated the color of everything you have, be it the heart, the liver, the skin, the size and the shape. I'm too short, I don't like. But you can't just crease the leg. You have to go through the process that the totality balances. When you're done, achieve what is that pleases you. Then we have a bunch of happy people, because now they can do. This is the beauty of this technology. It teaches you the essence of creation. This is where we need this is how we have to be open and fully transparent into what we do, into what we want. We would like to achieve.
Mr. Keshe, can you check your mic, please?
Which one?
That's better, thank you.
Is that better? Okay, you have the two open. The whole is how far we can understand the new knowledge. You've seen where your soul sits and you understand the operation of your soul. You understand what you need to increase to be able to elevate your soul. What is the problem? What is the next step? Understand, I explained this to Mojans. Look deep into the space that you don't see anything. You become blind to the space of the time, and at that point you become open, your soul to receive what it needs to elevate itself. When you close your eyes, you close a lot, you put a filter on. And that creates a problem for further understanding of the soul of the man. When you look into the depth of the space, is where the energy of the space comes in, which is equal to what you need You elevate the soul of the man to become man of the space, and with that, you make connection with the rest of the universal community. Don't forget what I drew. You found the position of your joy and fear in your soul. So the soul of the man has the eye of his own operating through his L, which sees the universe in a dimension which the man is not used to and soon has to learn. It's very much like a night vision camera. We have to learn. We have to understand what this new vision gives us. Gives us the vision of the universe. Gives us the sight of the universe. But this time we see it with our soul, not with our eye. This is what, in the understanding of the technology, we take you a step further. In understanding the totality, we take you a step further. In understanding the reality with a space of time which does not exist in the dimension of the universe, creates new interaction and attractions for the man of space. Many times people say, what are we going to do in the space? There are no schools, there are no football matches, there are nothing else. But we have so much to do that we don't have time, because the time does not exist in the matter of the matter state which we exist in, because we exist in the dimension of the plasma. It's everlasting. This is what we got to understand. This is how we need to elevate the soul of the man, which is us elevating ourselves. Any questions?
Mr. Keshe, there's a question. What do you need to increase to elevate your soul?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Keshe? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I'll be lost in the space of time.
There was a question I just asked here, which is from the Q&A. What do you need to increase to elevate your soul?
The only thing you need to increase is the giving. That's the bad thing about increasing the level of your soul. And it doesn't sound right in our work, does it? How can I increase my soul when I'm giving so much out? But you have to look, by giving, you receive more. You give on the levels which you have too much of, but you're suffering from the ones which you don't have. By attracting, you fulfill those which you are suffering or are short. This is the beauty of it. You don't give all the levels, you give on a higher level which are lower in the strength. And then you're receiving lower of the higher strength of what needs to be absorbed by your system, by your soul. Don't forget, when you're on the receiving side, means you're weaker. When you're on the gravitational pull, it means, by the law of physics of magnetism and plasma, the weaker always pulls from the stronger, that it can bring itself to balance. And then, as you receive combination of the higher order in a lower strength, or lower strength in the higher order, you give those which you don't need. So you give from the hydrogen and you give from, let's say, copper, but you gain, let's say, from plutonium, uranium, if you understand that means. Because you have already filled up those which are there, you are giving away a surplus. So you're giving the surplus of the hydrogen to create a flow that in that process you can create and bring in the higher order. By giving more, you gain more of the higher order, because what you give, you already has reached the maximum spherical strength. So now you're giving from the copper you have the strength, anything below is already filled up, given away. Now you give from zinc. Now at that moment you give from zinc, and then you give from, let's say, gold, and then you have to go higher because everything is filled up. It's like a tank with so many cells. But each cell, one is 1 cup, the other one is 2 cups, the other one is 10 cups, and then it becomes 30,000 tanker. Any other question? By the way, Armand, did you manage to send that thing to Rick? Regarding Mr. Laurenson's? Pardon?
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
would you like to play it for us, please? Make sure his name is not there, that he can go and play games of victim. My hand doesn't work. But you can see the
Whose
threads.
name isn't there? So that whose name isn't there?
His name. Okay, can you release it?
I'm not sure if I should show this picture or not, but I will. I'm not sure if
Okay,
what I'm
don't show
supposed
it.
to
If you
hide
don't
or
think
do.
so, do
Well,
not show it.
it has some of Armin's contacts and so on in Skype, so I don't know if it should
Okay,
be showed.
can we
I can
crypt it?
show what I can show is just the text basically, where I can put it in a text program here, and we can show that. Perhaps that might be good.
Okay, crypt it. That
Let me do that.
we don't want to give this creep another chance. He's made a threat. You don't tell people leave if you're not making threat.
Okay, I'll just put this part on just a second here.
If any of you have received any kind of communication from Mr. Sylvester, from Mr. Dirk, and the others in that team which we know, please send them to us. Webmaster at Keshe Foundation or webmaster at spaceshipinstitute.org. We know a number of people are receiving emails. They have become very cocky because they think they're going to win something. But you don't know what surprise we got up our sleeves for a whole lot of you.
So I think that's the reference, at least, that's what Armin showed me or sent me here. There's also a picture showing the actual Skype session that this occurred in.
Okay, can we have that, please?
The picture?
Take the
Okay.
name.
Well, I'll
You
just
see
show
it?
it as is. I don't really care. Doesn't
It's
matter.
there. It could be anybody, but we know the name. Wake up and close the door with Keshe. Everything becomes public. Another breaking news. And he puts the information from the Ghana minister. Now we expose the Ghana, how he was misused. Go home. He's not an ET, sir. He's a human being. Trying to become ET, to be correct. Threats and threats and trying to weaken. With your work, Mr. Larison, you're strengthening the foundation beyond. To Oh, take it off, you're showing too much. Take it off, please. Why are you showing this part? Rick,
Well, like I said, this is what Armin sent me, so this is what I have to show, and that's what I thought you just asked me to show it. So I did.
no, but you showed the whole thing. It's okay.
Well,
It's okay, there is no problem. There is no problem. Now we've seen the behavior of the man. Now we see how we receive and how it's been. People working with us in the front and Mr. Lawrence in the back, destroying everything for 10 years. That's how we are growing. Now these worms are out of the box. Now if you understand the work of the everything else we've done, if there is any other question, we carry on. If not, we call it a day. It's nearly 2 hours and 15 minutes or so.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Azab, I don't know if you're in France or you're in the United States.
No, I'm in New York, Mr. Keshe.
Oh, you're back home.
Yes. Mr. Keshe, I have a question. If you remember, one time I asked when we born, is the soul goes, and you said when you born, the soul already decide the color of your skin, the color of your eyes, and everything your soul decided on that at the time your conception. My question is, when we are born, is the soul also decided on the story of our life on the planet, like what I'm gonna do? I mean, I already have my manuscript. What is the story of my life? Like, I'm gonna be born here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to the prison. I'm gonna come out and this and that, or no?
No. That is what you add to the soul of your children. You add to the knowledge of theirs. But it doesn't stop at the point when you gave birth to the child. Because you have a line of connection. Whatever you experience through the line goes to the child. This is the beauty of it. Which means does not finish at a point. That's why you still are in contact with your great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers or whatever. Half of the people we see in our dreams, which I explained what it is, are the people we actually are part of us, been with us, have contact with us. That's they come to us. Or we're supposed to come in touch with, as they say, we are coming. If that was supposed to be what you say, then life would have been the monotonous. We knew all the programs in advance. Everybody will meet at the cross. You do this, you do that. Our decision is part of, but our soul puts us, in a way, if you look at it, the soul is the government, and whatever else we do monotonously are the local districts and the governors and the mayors and then city hall offices and the rest of it. The government doesn't decide all the mayors will say such a thing and sit in such a chair in such a minute. But whatever they do, then it feeds back to the work out the decision of the government. Our soul is the controller overall. But our existence, our daily life is an interaction with others. And in a way, because when we do something to somebody, something, we touch their souls, then their soul has to balance it with our soul. When the interaction is with the souls in that interaction have to balance each other. You balance the physicality, then the souls have to balance in what physicalities have done. You betray your partner, he's not aware, but the souls are aware. And then the souls have to balance because you've taken something from it, he has to find a position. And then what happened? The whole position, it needs a third party or another feels that it can balance it out. You're crashing a car. You something happens. And then you say, my God, I run into one problem and after. But you forgot, you haven't learned from what you've done. The process is balancing out. You do something wrong, and then you know you hurt another soul. Then what happens? Down the road something happens, and it's only you and your soul who knows, if I wouldn't done that, I wouldn't be here. Which means you learn, next time you don't do it. If you do it again, this time the balancing is much harder. This is what I always say to my children. Don't do anything, because what you take, gotta get 3 times back. A fool works 3 times to get 1, but you can't have 1 by 1. What's not yours is not yours.
Mr. Keshe, Stephen has a question in the Q&A. It's okay. How does the different salts impart a different strength or spacing within the structure, like to compare magnesium salt to potassium, calcium, or sea salt?
It's the spacing, is a gravitational magnetic field spacing. If you put a copper and zinc, the same as you do CO2, and put a magnesium salt, or you put a potassium salt, or whatever, the spacing in the water is different. So the carbon which created with the CO2 is different in its strength, even though it's like a carbon CO2, but in its strength is different. You can use this for a spacing of something else, you can use this for another purpose. One will not say, oh, I made the CO2 gas with this, but it was doing this, but now it doesn't do it. This is why some of our works, especially in the background, have problem with these things. Some of our people cannot repeat a system because the system they have used is totally different. Because of the salt used in Arizona is different than the salt used in, let's say, England. This is what we got to understand. This is the part of the knowledge we have to understand. And I use it in a humorous way. I say, who has got a mustache is not your uncle. When you create a CO2 using zinc and copper, you use different salinity even in potassium, or different salinity in sodium, different salinity in magnesium. You get a CO2, but different strength of CO2. Because now you got to understand the whole water is in a plasmatic magnetic field state, is not water. So the space gap is different. It's like you use a calcium. Let's say, for example, you create a salt salinity of, let's say, 10 per liter. Then you use salt water with 20% of the same, and then you go and use a 15% potassium salt in the same, with the same plates. You create a CO2, but the one which was 20% and the one was 10% could be exactly the same, but in one strength. This is what is the process of understanding. Every condition, this is how your organs are created in your body. Because the body uses a minute salinity to create a different cell that in kidney one is the outside and one is just a layer below and the rest of it. The body of the man doesn't go and create new salinities for everything and whatever, a new cell by one. It just changes the salinity because now it's the reference from the lymph. The next base was 10 layers of the cell, so that becomes the skin. The 15 layer inside is very much different. 15 layers inside now receives a different gravitational magnetic field than the 9th layer inside. So the salinity has a different property due to magnetic gravitational field. This is why we can have so variety of different cells in different part of the body of the man. Because the salinity dictates different type of transmission of the totality. Any other question?
Yes, we've got several questions here. Get the one from Boniface here. Boniface says,
can I say something as a joke?
Yeah.
We all become ETs because they tell us to go home.
There's another joke that home is where you hang your hat.
Yeah.
Maybe on our head. Boniface asked, yesterday you asked us to appeal to President Xi of China. Should we wait for the Universal Council letter or should we draft our own to send to him?
We don't know when the Universal Council is going to meet. The Chinese community has to do it, plus all of us. All of us. Don't wait. Write it with the pen of your soul what you feel and let him read it. Then it becomes a propaganda we all write. Write with the pen of peace you carry. The man needs to feel the feeling, not just read the paper. We are not a pressure group. We are those who can elevate. And in so many ways, when you write in your letters to the president, right, I give you from my soul to elevate yours, that you feel what I feel. I'm a man of peace.
There's a similar question that she also has, that she says, it appears the Minister of Science and the President of Ghana are not on the same page. What can we students do to help correct the situation? It will be a travesty.
The thing is, they're blocking everything into. The minister, I've had lunch with the minister. He's a gorgeous man. He's a highly intelligent man. But when they are misinformed, they are ministers. They have to, it's the way they've done to them. And we have to understand that we've seen their letters. They haven't stopped. The president of Ghana stood on the election. I was in his house when he went to the parliament for the first meeting to do things. I was standing in his garden, and the man is very direct. The man is very straightforward. He's an extremely rich man. He doesn't need to bring money. He's the 4th, 5th richest man in the country. He's in his late age. He's not a young man. He has a principle he's standing for, and people like us and other government, or what they call it, organizations, have to stand next to presidents like this. He's sincere in helping. So is the Minister of Science. But when they get misinformed, when they are put in the wrong path, we have to sit. I was explaining earlier when I was, when Benjamin and I were sitting on a lunch table with him at Atomic. He sat Benjamin next to him and he said, Mr. Keshe, you sit across the table. And he just dialed a number to a guy. He says, I'm sitting in front of this guy. He's a plasma physicist, his name. And the guy said, I know him. He's this and that. He is the top scientist in the world. And I follow him in the Facebook and YouTube. And the guy couldn't say so much good things coming out of the phone. He put it on his, what do you call it, earphone. When we met him the next time, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a clear, there are some moves, but should not affect us. We are, they get so much pressure by these, we've seen it. Mr. Lorenz doesn't write, I murdered Fabio. Mr. Lorenz doesn't say, I poisoned Mr. Keshe twice, using another Congolese guy. We have to elevate the soul of these men. We have to teach them. You see in the way I said, I put my word, and I educated the minister. I carried out my threat. My threat was I educate you. And that education brings shame to those who, it's a good thing, because I was explaining this to Arman today. Because now the governments understand, next time they did the same thing. They pressurized the Dubai government with all the rubbish they sent in. Every time we say something, they send. Now we send these, we get them reference to go back to the minister. Please, we are opening this. If you get anything, please go back to the minister of Ghana. You understand who these people are. These people are making friends for us, but it's us to be controlled, to understand. And I get angry with how much energy we can put forward to learn. We are wasting with these guys. This guy for 10 years done this to me. To us. Now you see it, what is done with the Armand. We see what they've done with the minister. For 10 years he comes and sits next to me in the meeting with Boeing, and he goes in the background, destroys Boeing. Why couldn't we do it? This is his habit. That's what he's paid to do. That's why these people, we call them in Farsi, they have no mother. Means they have no root. Doesn't get angry, but yes, Minister of Ghanaian government, the presidents came on a stand. This minister stood on the correct conduct. When I said to him, when I said in my discussion about the Dubai, it wasn't for him, it was for the man whom he knows and what it sits and what it sits. If these people, we put right, I carried out my threat, I educated him. That's the worst threat you can make to a minister. And the thing is, he can't do it at home himself. He cannot say, my advisor did. Then you understand they have to change the course. Next time, when any pressure comes from outside, they understand they've been abused. These are well organized, well organized. Mr. Lorenz has been backed by millions by the Belgian government. The same the guys in Germany. But now it's to our benefit. Now a minister has to come out and do the test. And then what he said, there is a water they brought from, we didn't bring nothing. The only thing we brought out of Belgium, our lives not to be killed. Now they know, the murderer announced himself who he is. Let them do it. They bring us, now we need, you have to understand, for 10 years we've been looking to break Keshe Foundation into the news, world of news. Now they've done it for us. If they wouldn't misinform the minister wouldn't made the misjudgment of listening to what they said, we wouldn't get a chance. Now we can refer, everybody go, this is the minister speaks to us, these are the people that you got to understand. They gave us a huge gift. I didn't come on the line and says, you done this, we're doing this, we're closing. No. It's our job to put the facts on, to explain. They are government. One count, one telephone call, they can check. We put finances in there to bring Ghana up. Ghana becomes, Keshe Foundation becomes one of the largest earning companies for Ghana in the coming time. We already start paying taxes and VAT. We are selling products. We are automizing products. We expect something between 30 to 40 million dollars a month and huge taxes to Ghanaian nation with well-paid staff. As I said, we become Keshe Foundation Global, and it's been a decision of us. We use Ghana as a headquarters of Keshe Foundation Global. It has advantages for us. It has advantages with Ghanaian, and we trust the nation. But when we get attacked like this out of nowhere, we stand our ground. We don't run and hide. But it takes time. You have to understand something, and I keep on repeating. I'm well trained by the British government, by the Russian government, and by another in diplomacy, in politics. I know where to touch, that when the cat sings, I know where the cage be. This relationship, this situation, it brings solidarity between Keshe Foundation and Ghanaian government. Because we know how to handle it. The people who do it, they rely on your ignorance of not understanding. I rely on my 40 years of international experience. I'm well seasoned in the world of politics and diplomacy. I learned the first thing in the world of commerce and diplomacy from a gentleman called Bill Crammett. Lord Bill Crammett. And I learned one thing with Bill. That was it. That respect every man. Does not matter, they don't respect you. But the time comes when they come to respect you, they serve you. Read about Bank of Scotland, Crammett family, Lord Crammett. The man has passed away some years ago, but he taught me a lot. He took me into the British aristocracy and the whole thing, and the banking system. He had the same problem as me, trying to create a condition of peace. We are not afraid. Now, I carry the threat, they put it on the table, but now the threat is so good, it means the minister from now on has to learn. And this is good for us. We didn't insult him, we didn't do anything else, we just taught him. I still wait for a letter of apology. And if he knows, if he wants to know what I'm talking about, Dubai, please come on the table with His Excellency, President Nana. Then I'll put you the figures down. It was for the door, as we say, to hear, for the wall to cry. We respect governments. This is part of our job as a Keshe Foundation. We are part of the governments. We are within the nations of the government. But if we take it, they become like the animals we see. I hit because I wait to see what's in the back coming out when you hit it. But when it comes out, I know what measure I have to take. Today, as we speak, journalists are meeting in Accra. We will see the outcome in the next few weeks. Shall we call it a day? And, hi Amanjan. Go home, he says. Mr. Lorenzo says, go home. Are you okay? And that's for you. We go for a dinner. Yeah? or we go for lunch, or we go for breakfast, we all, wherever we are around the world, enjoy life. Enjoy the time of life. Be it anywhere on this planet. Thank you very much. We'll be back at 2 o'clock with the rest of the teaching. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And if anybody else has a question that they didn't have answered at this session, they can carry it on to the afternoon session. Maybe we can get it answered there. Okay. Okay, so we'll end the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity, Day 7. This is the morning session for Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. And as Mr. Keshe stated, we'll be back in about an hour and a half for the 2 o'clock PM CEST time afternoon session of the Blueprint for Peace. Okay, I'll end the live stream.